Joining us in the studio, nice to see you. And the great Gaydos from Outspoken is in with us right now. And so Joe recommended that we bring you in. Of course, I told him that's a terrible idea.
I agree.
But he outranks me. So he said, you know who's done a really good job covering the whole Preston Lord controversy? And of course, we've been discussing it, but nobody, honestly, take this for what it's worth, nobody has done a better job covering this than you have, from with the basketball coach and everybody else that's been involved in everything around Preston Lord. For people unfamiliar, young man who was beaten to death by what amounted to strangers. I don't think he even knew any of the attackers at a Halloween party 1 year ago tonight.
Yeah.
And it was all in a string of other assaults perpetrated by this loose-knit group of kids called the Gilbert Goons. And it seemed to culminate in this guy's tragic death. It was something that, had the police been able to get on the clue bus, they probably could have put these all together and known this is not going to end well. This is somebody's going to really get hurt. This is after these guys had done assaults and put people in a hospital. So we wanted to invite you in to kind of talk about some of the reflections that you've had here as you look back in the last year. And the one that stands out to me is the relationship that you forged with the basketball coach.
Yeah, I mean, I texted him today, Coach Graham.
Did
because
you?
And you know what I texted him? I'll even read you the text because, you know,
This
he
is
was
behind-the-scenes stuff we're getting, Joe.
Well, I mean, he was Preston Lord's basketball coach.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, can you imagine he wakes up in the middle of the night because his phone is ringing and all of his players are saying, Preston's hurt, or Preston's in the hospital, or the night that he passed away, Preston died, he's dead.
Oh, my gosh.
And this is the man who had to get these other young men through a time which was just brutal. And so I sent him a text today, and I just said, how are you doing? You know, because today is a somber anniversary.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, you're always taking care of everyone. I wanted to see how you are doing.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what he's done. He, you know, he lost a child by suicide. He knows what it's like to lose a kid. He's a mentor to these young men on the basketball team, and, you know, trying to pull them through what was a dark year. For them. I mean, it's one thing if your friend dies, and that's bad enough. When your friend is murdered and the police turned a blind eye to it, it makes everything worse. And so, you know, he's a leader. He's just such a good dude, and he's trying to get these kids. He has gotten these kids through it. But, you know, I look back, it's been a year. I'm still angry. Because I think Preston should be alive today. I think if you know, it wasn't the whole police department in Gilbert. It was their absolute horse crap police chief who shouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
He's a disgrace to the badge. Didn't want to investigate. Shelved a bunch of these cases. There were a couple of these police officers we're finding out now who just watched the kids beat people up. And you know, there are conspiracy theories out there about why that is. Preston should be alive today. He really should. And, you know, we had parents that didn't do their job. They knew that their kids were doing stuff like this, and they were coming home. And, oh, my gosh, why are your hands so bloodied? Why are your hands so bruised?
Oh, my gosh.
And then you let it go, and then they go out and do it again. So, I don't know, guys. I think on a day like today, I don't think I'm sad. I think I'm just still angry because I think this young man should be alive today.
The Lords said that they want people to remember their son not as a victim, but to remember his name and his legacy.
Yeah.
They say he had a love for sports, the Seahawks and Celtics in particular. He was whip smart, really smart kid.
Yeah.
And overall, his dad said he was just a good person.
I know.
What did the coach say to you about him?
I was invited to go to one of the games, and so we drove out and went to the game, and you know, Coach Graham is there, and he's coaching the team, and the players are on the bench, and they had a seat, and it had Lord's number 5 jersey over it.
Yeah.
And when the kids would go in, they'd touch the jersey, and they'd go into the game, and you know, I think that they played, you know, I watched them and I was like, you know, I don't go to a lot of high school games. I'm like, these kids are playing hard, man.
Yeah.
And I go, I guess, they're always playing hard, but they were playing for Preston. They wanted to do well by their teammate who wasn't there anymore. And so it was kind of cool watching the kids play, and you could just see like, you could see that it just wasn't a normal game. The game wasn't normal. It was like every game was, hey, let's go out and win one for Preston. Let's go out and win one for him and his family. So, I think for some of those kids, it became therapeutic to play ball.
So that was my next question.
Yeah.
Is this where they're channeling their emotions?
I think so.
You talked about you're still angry.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out. What I wrote down here was emotional confusion, and I think that's totally normal when you're reflecting on something that's had so many. I mean, for Pete's sake, we covered this, and it was like every week there was another story dropping about this
There
person,
still
that
is.
person. Yes.
This attack, that attack.
Yeah, and then finding out it was about a $10 gold piece of costume jewelry that the goons were chasing.
Just gave them
Lord and his buddy
an excuse
around
to
for.
go and beat
Yes,
someone
of course. So emotional confusion, and I thought the basketball team must be taking and channeling all of their emotion, whether it's anger, fear, resentment, whatever it is, and channeling it into that physical activity.
Yeah.
And I wonder what the rest of the community can try to channel. And I think that's probably what the goal is of this, the Light the Night that they've got going on tonight.
I think the community's done a great job for the family. I think the family feels loved. I hope that they do. I haven't spoken to them, but I speak, to a couple people who know them. And, you have to make them feel the love, man.
Yeah.
They lost their kid, and they lost him in such a horrible public way. And they're going to have to go through this for the next 2 years. They're going to have to sit in a courtroom. It's all going to be replayed. Every emotion. This is not going away. They're not going to be able to. Your life is never going to be the same after you lose your kid. But their life for the next 2 years is going to be it's going to be torture because they're going to have to sit in court, and these thugs are going to be there, and they're going to have to go through step by step what happened. And can you imagine? Oh, what are you doing today? I'm getting up to go to the courtroom, and I'm going to see everybody who killed my kid. I mean,
and their parents.
And
it's going to be this awkward moment walking in and out of the courtroom and in the hallways and at lunch. And there's always awkwardness going to be there, right?
Hurt, sadness, anger.
Yeah.
And it's you can't get any closure. Can they get closure after this whole thing is over, after the court case, and hopefully these thugs go to jail for a long time?
Well, they'll probably get probation anyway. Everybody else has been getting probation.
Well, they better go to jail for a long time, and I don't know what that looks like. I'm not a lawyer, but they need to go away for a long time.
I'm looking forward to your show tonight. The great Gaydos,
Thanks, guys.
Star of Outspoken with Gaydos and Gaydos.
Don't tell Bruce.
I think we were told to drop
Our little
Bruce's
secret.
name.
Bruce and Gaydos is fine.
Okay.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe, and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.